So I'm Henry Hargreaves. I'm originally from Christchurch, but we're here at my studio in New York, and I've been living here since 2004. So after I finished at Canterbury University, one-way ticket to London, stop over in Bangkok, spend all my New Zealand dollars where they still had some pull. You know, these are the days when one New Zealand dollar I think got 30p. So I knew when I got to London I was going to have to work. So my savings went on 3 months travel all around Southeast Asia. And while I was there, I got asked to model and did a few jobs in Thailand, which is how I got to stick around there, but didn't really think anything of it, and got to London, got a job in a Wetherspoons pub in Putney, and really had no idea what I was going to do with my life, and got the pictures from the stylist I worked with in Thailand, and he said, you know, take these around some agencies and see if you can't get some modelling work. So I kind of bit my pride and did that. It wasn't until I got here that I really fell in love with this place. I mean, it was a place that you're curious about. And like growing up in New Zealand, you know, it was like one of the cities you wanted to go and tick the box of visiting. But when I came here that first time to work, that's when I was like, whoa, I really dig this place. I couch surfed with an Irish guy I met in Vietnam who drove horses around Central Park, which I thought was wildly romantic and such a cool New York story. And after New Zealand and London, you know, as we all know, there's a bit of a tall poppy syndrome going on. And when I got here, I just was really blown away by the positivity of people. And I was like, that's what I want to be surrounded by. We're here in Bushwick.
And you could kind of like forgive someone for wandering around here and wondering what the hell is going on, because it's kind of a weird mix of graffiti, industrial, still functional kind of warehouses and like cafes and stuff.
Yeah, no, it's very much a sort of neighbourhood on the change at the moment. It's gone from sort of supply warehouses and things to, you know, the artists starting to move in and take over the spaces and turn them into studios, and, you know, then the cafes follow suit and the rents rise, and before you know it, they're zoning it residential and people are moving in. I mean, you just see it in New York over and over again. It happens with every neighbourhood. You know, whether it be the West Village, Soho, East Village, Lower East Side, Williamsburg, here, you know, it'll do the same.
I mean, so how do you navigate kind of the whole gentrification thing, which is kind of like a dirty word, I guess? I mean, do you feel any kind of like guilt about it, I guess?
I think at the end of the day, you always adopt the philosophies to suit yourself anyway.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, look, I'm part of the people who came and gentrified this area. You know, and if I had the money, I'd probably be one of those people who would be trying to buy one of these overpriced apartments too. But you know, it comes down to where you want to be. I did photography in New Zealand and loved it. I did it at high school, but to me, there was never a possibility of having a career as a photographer. You know, all the famous photographers, or the famous art photographers were also lecturers, or, you know, or they took pictures of kids at school, or, you know, there was always a compromise. I never realized you could make a living as a photographer doing art. And as I modeled, I really envied the photographers. I was like, these guys have got these great lifestyles, and, you know, they're coming up with these ideas and executing them and making a living from that. And so I was essentially like, that's what I want to do. I want to be that guy taking the pictures. I knew if I lived here, I wasn't going to be able to make a living as a model while I was trying to get the photography to happen. And my traveling occupation has always been bartending.
So we're in the Lower East Side, and do you want to explain what's behind us and why it has relevance to you?
Yeah, so this is Schiller's. This is where I cut my teeth as a bartender and manager and host and failed waiter for 4 years.
Working in a bar, obviously it's to your advantage, tipping culture. But something that I found is it actually brings the standard of service up quite a lot. Is that something absolutely. You notice when you go back to New Zealand?
Yeah, when I go back, I'm always frustrated as hell about the service that I get and how slow everything is. And you know, but it goes back to like when I was working in New Zealand, I don't think we were pushed. You never had that comparison of great service. But also you work as a team here. And people, if someone's slow, the other members of the team are on top of them, because everyone splits the tips as well. So everyone's got to be on point. Yeah, I mean, look, there's an old saying, you know, tell me what you eat and I'll tell you who you are. And that was really evident when I was working in bars. It's kind of like, you know, how people interacted with their food was such a metaphor for who they were. And that was something that, as I started taking pictures of food, I was like, it's all very well to make it look pretty and make you want to put it in your stomach, but there are all these other stories that can be told through it, and that's kind of what I want to explore in my work. So these are musicians' backstage riders, and I found what they asked for and kind of decided to photograph the kind of strange requests. So this one here is Axl Rose, who asked for white Wonder Bread and Dom Perignon. And then this is Lady Gaga, who wants a small plate of cheese on ice, not smelly, not sweaty. Yeah, I think where I am is a total product of my journey. And let's just say the journey that I had in front of me while I was in New Zealand was not that exciting. There's a reason that we go on our OE, and that is to discover the world and open our eyes to other things and see these new opportunities. And that's what happened when I went traveling, was I suddenly saw that, yeah, wow, you can make a career as a photographer. Wow, you can actually make a career as a photographer shooting food. And what more, doing crazy things with food that are non-traditional. In terms of work, New Zealand's got a interesting relationship with its own artists if they're not in New Zealand. And a lot of people choose to ignore the overseas New Zealand artists. And there's a lot of great artists, especially in London, who are super successful Kiwis, who are almost absolutely unknown names back home in the New Zealand art market. But superstars over there.
Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I don't have the answers for it, but I find that often people are just not that interested in what goes on outside of their backyard.